It is Tuesday, April 9th, 2024. The time is 7:08 PM. I call this meeting to order. Roll call.
Councilmember Woods,
Here.
Bailey,
I am here.
Laura, Hendricks,
Here.
Christensen,
Here.
Escobar.
Here. Next item is approval of the agenda. We'll be doing the agenda as it stands tonight, with the exception of, I would like to add from the work session after item 16, items 4, 5, and 6. So really just committee reports from item 5, but 4, 5, 6 from the work session, just to cover those. Well, we don't need to do 6 because we're just 4 and 5. Okay, otherwise we're gonna do the agenda as it was typed up. Approval of the consent agenda, the minutes of regular meeting, March 19, 2024, approval of bill list dated April 5, 2024, and payroll ledger dated March 22, 2024, and payroll ledger dated April 5, 2024. Consideration of resolution number 1324, series of 2024, resolution adopting the Town of Dillon Trails Master Plan. Consideration of resolution number 1424, series of 2024, resolution approving a First Amendment to the Town Manager's Employment Agreement. Consideration of resolution number 1524, series of 2024, resolution approving event agreements for the annual Lake Dillon Art Summer. Consideration of resolution number 1624, series of 2024, resolution approving an event agreement for the TGR Ski. And consideration of resolution number 1724, series of 2020, resolution approving a security service agreement with Citadel Security. Is there a motion?
I would like to make a.
Like the fire, Brad. Is there a second?
Second that.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember Mora,
Yes.
Christensen,
Yes.
Hendricks,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Wood,
Yes.
Escobar.
Yes. Everyone, next item is citizen comments. Citizens are asked to limit their comments to 5 minutes. Council will take comments into consideration, but will not make decisions at this time. Council will not engage in back and forth dialogue, but may respond to a speaker with brief factual information or refer the speaker to the town manager to arrange a meeting with an appropriate staff member for discussion of the speaker's topic at an appropriate time. However, the council has no obligation to engage with the speaker by either of the foregoing methods or at all. First person I have signed up on citizen is Jim Howard. If you would, state your name and address for the record, and I'll get your 5-minute timer going.
Jim Howard. I live at 355 East Labonte Street, right around the corner in Dillon. Okay. I thank you, first of all, for the opportunity to speak. I love the discussion. I'd like to clarify just a couple of things. The concept of quid pro quo includes expectations. Our church is 111 years old. I'm not bragging. We're here to bless the community. Real simple. We've never asked for anything that I'm aware of. And so even back to Mr. Hendricks, the earlier amphitheater before this, we were heavily invested in making the sound system possible. And so we do a lot of things because we want to be a blessing to the county. So you mentioned the food bank, that's right. And we gave over 100,000 last year through our benevolence fund to poor people. And so when we look at the amphitheater, we don't look at it as Dillon Community Church moving over there. As Mr. Christensen said, we only have about 85 to 100 of our people. We developed this whole idea simply to be a blessing to the county. And we have people that actually plan their vacations based on that. We came to the town before many of you were on the town council and volunteered. Why don't you let us host the holiday festival? And so we do that. It's not a religious thing. We just want people to come have a great time during the holidays. So I don't want you to think that we're looking for anything in return, because we're not. We do it because we want to be a blessing to our community. We're community citizens. Our church was started in 1913 with this in mind. Our DNA is very deep in being a blessing to the county. Some of the churches have come to us in earlier years, and we've even said, well, why don't you consider, we'll do 2 services and our people will stay behind and run your technology. You know, if we are allowed to do it, we'll help you do it. So we're more than happy to share that. It would be very difficult for us to say, well, you get it 5 weeks out of the year, out of the summer. That'd be very difficult because we're moving equipment, and stuff back and forth. And so that would be a very difficult thing to do, but we're very open to working with other organizations, not just Christian. We host the Synagogue of the Summit during their holidays. They come and use our facility. And so I just wanted you to hear that we're here just to be a really good community citizen. That's why we exist. So that's deep in our DNA. We've never asked anything, and we won't. That's it. So thank you for whatever you decide. All right.
Hey, I feel compelled just to engage with you here for a minute.
Okay.
If a different group, let's just say, well, I don't know how long the summer is, 17 weeks or 12 weeks or something that you're.
13 at the longest,
Yeah, so,
sometimes 12.
so 13 weeks. What if it was like a time where it was like service? It was a service time and what if, this week it's you guys in the synagogue and next week it's you guys and somebody else and somebody else. Would there be room for collaboration in something like that where you all get together and you say, this is, the message that's important to us this week and do some sort of collaborative service? Is that a thing that exists?
I would say it's a possibility, but I would also say one of the beautiful things about our country is we're allowed to be different in the way we worship and our beliefs. And so our heritage as Christians goes back to Judaism. So we welcome the Jewish community. We have members in our church who are part of the Interfaith Council. I don't know if they would feel comfortable trying to mix that together. And if you notice, we don't advertise as Dillon Community Church. We advertise it as Worship on the Water. And so we have people, as Mr. Christensen said, who come on vacation. They call us and say, you're in the amphitheater, we're planning our vacation, because they like to come to the event. And so again, not bragging, I just want you to hear the reality of it. So we pay you some, and we're grateful that you don't charge us a whole ton, but we bring up bands from Denver. We pay honorariums for that. We pay food and lodging and transportation. And so there's a cost every week for us to do it. This is not a moneymaker for us. This is really meant to be a blessing to the community. So I don't know, we can have those conversations. We don't always get along in the Interfaith Council meetings, just to be honest with you. Or I should say it a different way. We get along, but we love debates. Okay. And that's one of the beautiful things of our nation.
Exactly. Okay, thanks, Jim.
Jim.
That's all I haven't signed up, but go ahead. If you would, state your name and address for the record, and then I'll start your 5-minute timer.
I'm Jake Borrit, and because I'm on a timer, I might use my phone here to help me out.
And your address?
Address 240 Lake Dillon Drive, across the street. So that's what I'm here to speak about, actually, is that, we, over the course of the last couple of years, have heard a pretty loud, resounding help us with that project across the street and do it as quickly as possible. And that's the mission that we've been on. We started with purchasing a defaulted loan. Then we started a foreclosure proceeding right away. The debtor filed a bankruptcy, so we ended up in a bankruptcy proceeding. And I'm only highlighting this process to explain why it's taken us as long as it has to get to where we are. And what we are hoping for, and what we've been hoping for throughout that process, is that when we emerged from the bankruptcy proceeding, that we'd be in a position to start right away on the construction of the project. So during the bankruptcy process, the issue of the building permit came up. Debtors Council, you guys may remember that they came here and pled their case about why the building permit was so important to them, about the valuation, and the council heard those words and came back with a resolution and did what you could, which was to provide an extension of time to the development permit. And I appreciate that. So and the reasons that you passed it are basically the same reasons I'm here today, which is, trying to find a path forward to allow this project to move as swiftly as possible. At the time during the bankruptcy proceeding, we also had correspondence with the building official from the county, Don Bantam, who suggested that the county, upon proof of ownership after the bankruptcy proceeding, that there'd be an extension of time for us to complete the existing building permit at that time. Now there's a new building official in place, and we just came into ownership on February 26th, so we've emerged, we own it. That process is behind us, and for the last 30 days, we've been trying to find a way a path forward that doesn't require us to start over in the design process. We appreciate that the development permit's been extended, and however, we're trying to find a path forward on a building permit. The existing permit having been expired, the county is saying, look, unless there's intervention from the town, you have to start with a new building permit. And we are, and to do so under the new codes that have been enacted since 2018, when the original building permit was issued, would, because of the certain codes relating to wind and relating to energy efficiencies and other codes that have been passed, really the existing building design would have to start over. We can't meet the wind requirements. We can't meet with that existing building design. So what we're here to ask the council to consider is if there's a method to create a waiver or an exception for us for certain elements of the code that are the ones that are especially structurally significant, because those are the ones that would require us to go from scratch at a brand new drawing, and pull out the footings and everything that's there. We had hoped to save a portion of that structure, at least the lower level slab. But however, if we have to completely change the structure, the building might be heavier, the footings might not be adequate. And so really we start from zero. And I don't think anybody in the community is hoping for that. I think everybody is asking us to move as fast as we can. And this is what it would require, is that we need a little help on the process with the building official at the county and in the code to allow us to move forward and try to get going this year. That's because that's our goal.
Thanks.
So the issue is that you need the town council to direct our design or planning department to let Summit County know that we will extend the building permit in-house here, and that in the hopes that they extend the old permit from there.
No, let me interject. We have nothing to do with the building permit. The county relies on the codes that we've adopted. So we've looked at this, we've corresponded with Mr. Porritt. For us to go back to the 2012 building codes would require us to adopt the 2021 energy codes, which are more restrictive than what we currently have on the books. So the issue that we have in front of us is we're really at a standstill, and I'll defer to Kathleen on further.
Yeah, and I don't want to go too far. I know this is not the forum for all that. I was just curious.
We are happy, though, to follow up with a full analysis. It's a fairly complicated issue, but the bottom line is I'm not aware that the county building official is asking the town council to do anything. I've not seen that, and perhaps that request has been out there and just not made its way to me. There's a state statute that prevents the town from, as Nathan said, adopting the 2012 building code without pulling in these additional requirements. It's a statute that applies statewide, and it's any modification of the building code triggers the need to add these additional requirements to the building code. I did look at the resolution that, Jake mentioned in his comments tonight, and the town council was very clear in the condition of extending the development permit, which is a town approval, that a requirement was to obtain a new building permit, and that the codes in effect at the time of building permit application would apply. So, I don't think there's been any, from what I have seen, there's been no misrepresentation by the town or by the county. I'm not sure what the town can do. I mean, we have worked on this and we have explored several options, and it's just not, from a legal standpoint, possible. And importantly, that's the opinion of the building official, and the building official is who issues the permit. So the town doesn't have any ability to compel the building official to issue a permit that the building official doesn't find meets the requirements.
I have a question too then. So if the Otto Burgos had secured funding and were able to build it themselves instead of going to bankruptcy, would that old building permit have been valid? They've been able to build it for that previous building?
The building permit expired April 30th of last year. So had they constructed it, they would have had to do that within the time period of the building permit. And I think it was, yeah, and I think it was extended even to get to that April 2023 date.
When it was renewed, it didn't matter who took it over, it was going to have to be brought.
The-
Or if nobody took it over, no matter who built it, once it expired and then we extended it, it was gonna have to be brought up to.
And that was acknowledged in the resolution that was adopted by the council. It's resolution number 3823.
I guess what we're just pointing out is that we will not be able to start construction, anytime soon because we have to start over with the drawings. And so we're preparing the town and the public that there are solutions that would allow us to start this year. But if we can't convince the parties that control that process to help us with it, then we will be stuck and have to work through it through the coming year.
Great.
May I just add? Mr. Port does view solutions. Colorado law does not allow those solutions to be implemented. It's not that the town is being difficult here. It's not that the Summit County building official is being difficult here. We have to follow the law.
Thank you.
If I could offer a legal opinion, meaning that we'll have one drafted and sent to the council about what the county can do. We will go ahead and do that if the town's willing to listen to it.
I don't think
We,
so. I
we
think
have
that-
listened and we have our attorney giving us legal advice. And just a point of clarification, some of these examples that he's been given, we've been asking for months. And we still have yet to define where we can do those. So that's the issue and that's why he's in front of you tonight.
Great.
Because he won't take no.
And Mr. Port, your 5 minutes are up, so thank you.
Okay.
Any other citizen comments here tonight? In that case, item 5, Proclamation 124, series of 2024, proclaiming May 15th, 2024 as Peace Officers Memorial Day and May 12th to 18, 2024 as National Police Week. Whereas in 1962, President John F. Kennedy signed the first proclamation recognizing May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the week of which it falls as National Police Week. And whereas there are approximately 800,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, including the dedicated members of the Dillon Police Department. And whereas the members of the Dillon Police Department play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of the town of Dillon. And whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the problems, duties, and responsibilities of their police department, and that members of our police department recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence or disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression or intimidation. And whereas the service and sacrifice of all killed in the line of duty will be honored during the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund 36th Annual Candlelight Vigil on the evening of May 13th, 2024. And now, therefore, I, Carolyn Scovera, Mayor of the Town of Dillon, call upon our citizens and all patriotic, civil, and educational organizations to observe the week of May 12 to 18, 2024 as National Police Week, recognizing all law enforcement officers, past and present, who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to their communities. Further, I call upon all citizens to observe May 15th, 2024 as Peace Officers Memorial Day to honor our law enforcement officers who have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their community or have been disabled in the performance of their duties, and let us recognize and pay respect to the survivors of our fallen heroes, dated this 9th day of April, 2024. And next, proclamation number 224, series of 2024, Town of Dillon, Colorado. The Town Council of the Town of Dillon, Colorado does hereby proclaim May 5 to 11, 2024 as annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week. Whereas the office of the Professional Municipal Clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world. And whereas the office of the Professional Municipal Clerk is the oldest among public servants. And whereas the office of the Professional Municipal Clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing body, and agencies of government at other levels. And whereas the professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. And whereas the professional municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community. And whereas professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the professional municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. And whereas it is most important that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the professional municipal clerk. Now therefore, let it be resolved that May 5th through May 11th, 2024 is hereby proclaimed to be Professional Municipal Clerks Week, adopted this 9th day of April 20. Thank you, Adrian. And Chief. To you and yours. Where is everyone? Also, I'd like to watch that video about Chris and whoever else was doing crazy stuff. That'd be great. Could you send that out to us perhaps? Even better. Okay, thank you everyone for everything you do. Up next, recognition of service for outgoing Mayor Pro Tem Brad Bailey and council members Tony Scalise. Brad, did you want to take this time to
Sure, can I?
hear your moments?
It's all you. There's a lot of your.
Okay, so. There I was in 2006, sitting on my lunch bucket down at Eagle. Installing cabinets for the, eating my single bologna sandwich that. Sure. And I really didn't want to go back to installing cabinets, so I happened to pick up the Summit Daily and read through the legal notices, which none of us really do too often. And I really didn't want to go back to hanging cabinets, so I read them again, and there was a little blurb in there about Town of Dillon looking for a planning and zoning commissioner. I traipsed over it, went back to work, and I thought about it on the way home. And well, I'm new to Dillon, and I'm single. Later, after a while, I was not single. This is my wife, Vicky, by the way, everybody. So I came in and applied to the town, and but I had to meet in front of town council. So I showed up one Thursday, all sweaty from work and general nervousness, and sat down at the head of the table and stared around at all those senior citizens, obviously, maybe not all of them, but. And the first question out of Judy Catherall's mouth with her clear blue eyes was, so Brad, what's your vision of Dillon? Some things have never changed. That was 17 years ago. Here we are. So I want to thank Terry Novak and Jerry Peterson for helping me through all those planning and zoning days. They were a lot of fun. My first project was the Dillon Ridge project, which was about 2 days after I was assigned to planning and zoning. Talk about trial by fire. It was a little unnerving. In the fall of 2015, Eric Jacobson left town council to go around the world with his family. I thought that was a pretty good choice. I wish we could have done that ourselves. Leading to a vacancy. Scott, to his credit or discredit, we'll see, suggested I apply to council. My soon-to-be wife, my fiance at that point, and I talked it, and we just realized, no, we like to travel too much. We can't come to all these meetings. And Scott quickly said, you can miss some meetings. That's fine. Tom Breslin also encouraged me to apply for council, so I did and was appointed. I'm very proud of a lot of the things we did since then. The urban renewal district that Kerry had going by that time, I think is a big one that will be in Dillon's history for up until 2030. 2030, whenever it expires, but it'll still last long before then. Scott helped me out with the cemetery master plan that someday might get implemented. We'll see. The architecture guidelines that we've put in place, I think, puts Dillon on a pedestal above some of the other towns because it's a basis to keep our new buildings architecturally intact and appropriate. The STR ordinances and taxes that we did the last couple of years were tough for all of us, including us personally, because we all have a stake in that, but I'm proud of council for working through those. That was not easy. Getting through COVID, that was a big one. Nathan, you showed up third day of COVID or the fourth?
The day before.
The day
The day before.
Yeah, thanks for doing that. I'm so. I'm not using the mic. I'm so thrilled that we jumped into the marijuana window foray. Aren't we all happy that we jumped into that one? Whoever's idea that was. We could shoot. Uptown 240 in its initial configuration, hopefully another one was a big one for us. Obviously, Homewood Suites was a big one. Development was a challenge for all of us, and lately, we'll get to work with the Best Western property. My wife, Vicky, she's just supported my time and efforts through council, even when a couple of travel itineraries got in the way. She's always interested in the meeting results afterwards. And sometimes when I come home, I'm a little jazzed and gotta get that first beer, and so I'll just blabber mouth. At 10 o'clock in the evening sometimes, so I'll blabber mouth and she's just in Steamboat trying to go to sleep. It's like, okay, catch up. But we're a little worried with our relationship. See, for years, every other Tuesday and maybe a day in front or a day after, I would come down and spend time in Dillon and check on our properties. And I'd be gone for a day or so, and she'd get some time on her own up in Steamboat, running around the condo with her girlfriends and stuff. And I'd show up a day or two later and we'd catch up, we'd be all fresh and lovely and huggy, and we would just catch up on our days. But now, what is our relationship gonna have to go through such, I'm stuck with it. How are we gonna make this work? I'm really worried. Not. To past council members that I really appreciated and helped all of us. Kevin Burns, obviously, your husband, Louis. Darren Parsons was very generous when I first started with council and planning and zoning. Jen Barchers, we all missed desperately. Tim Westerberg was always been very helpful. Kirsten Anderson, I loved working with her, and Tom Breslin. He was a lot of fun before your time, but you got time to live up to him. I also want to just a shout out to some of our local business owners, Eddie, you and your ilk, Danny Isles and Olivia, thanks for putting up on all those years, 6 years to get the Homewood Suites through, something like that. Hey, Jason, how are you? Something like that. Bobby Craig and his influence, and Travis and Annie Holton, that were always great business owners that helped us out a lot. And you guys just have no idea, after 9 years on here and 7 years on P and Z, just how lucky I've been to use my personal and professional skills in trying to keep this town a world-class resort and community, and sorting through sometimes the weighty and touchy legislative issues that have come before us. You guys just have no idea how lucky I've been. It's just been amazing. And to town staff, I could go on all night, but Adrian says I don't have enough. So Dan's not here, but you guys know that apart from the amazing amount of money he saves the town every year with his design skills, he always engages his co-work public. He's friendly, he's open, he's transparent. He even fought for us against the architect's wishes to get that dance floor at the amphitheater. Those architects were thinking about that dance floor going, this has never happened at any amphitheater before in my life. Dan pushed and we got that drop dance floor. That's one of his greatest accomplishments among many. Scott, you've been down here in this town for a couple of years. Thank you for encouraging me to get on P and Z and on the council. I appreciate that. Thanks for trusting me when I got to remodel this room. That was a lot of fun and your help was immeasurable. Again, you supported my plans for a master plan on the cemetery to keep those guys from bugging you too much. You've also been candid, as has other staff, when we've had some very touchy personnel issues, and I appreciate your trust when we work those things out. Carrie, can you hear me?
She's on vacation.
She's on vacation. You all know her longstanding service and understanding of the civic history of the town has been a beacon to me. I could ask her any strategic question and she would answer it simply, straightforward. That connection was always important to me and to council, that we had that institutional knowledge and respect. And she was always so respected by all staff. It was amazing. We miss her already. So Chief Clay, I just got to tell you, your work and your issues are just not in my wheelhouse, buddy. I don't know what to say. Your responsibilities are the purview of few brave souls that populate your field. All I can tell you is that you are highly respected, as well as your staff, not just in town, but throughout the county. Congratulations. So Craig, you and I have a deep bond with the water. You and I both aspire to you also have a deep connection with every individual I see you meet. You're generally curious about their experiences and life story. I've also appreciated being able to chat with you about town issues off the record, so to speak, without compromising any of our responsibilities or confidences of our town positions. That's always been a real pleasure. You run a nice ship down there. Ned. I think Ned started about the same time that I did. I've seen him grow personally and professionally over the years. I'm very proud of him. I also want to thank him and town staff in general, as council over the years can change directions on a dime, as you've all seen. We all know it. And I want to thank Ned sometimes while he's standing up here and he just sees the ship go out that way and his face doesn't move. He just goes, I'll go back to work. He's been very patient about that. Mary Kay's not here. I haven't had an opportunity to hang out with her much, but I'm totally confident she will work into this great group. Joanne, Adrian, and Michelle, you guys rock this world. Again, you guys have always been so helpful on little issues that I just can't process, and you'll put me straight in the single nanosecond, and I'm like, okay, that was easy. Jesse, Matt, Suzanne, just keep dealing at the forefront of some of these counties' music and recreation environments. We will all be just fine. Nathan, when you showed up, was a breath of fresh air at your position. We had some troubles prior to that. Your initiative of town issues, your easy manner with staff and council makes you very good at what your job. We just hope you are around for a long, long time. Kathleen and Nick, of course, your firm has been a forefront of many of our decisions on a weekly or monthly or daily basis sometimes now for a number of years. Prior to that, town council would show up once every 2 meetings. We just didn't have the issues. So you guys have been amazing, your professionalism to keep our ship is in the right direction and legally protected. We really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. All you guys, so thrilled to work with you. I will watch you continue on this venture. And to council, I just want to say over the years, and especially lately, I've always been amazed at our deliberative style in legislative procedures, but also by the common decency and respect that we've all taken to some of our weighty issues. It hasn't been easy. Emotions run high. Sometimes it could be contentious, obviously a clashing of philosophies. It's difficult to process some of these issues. These are huge economic numbers, a major factor in Dillon's future also. But I'm fully confident that our decisions and the ones you're going to make will keep Dillon moving along just fine. Lastly, Carolyn, your amazing intellect, passion for all things local, you can correct me if I'm wrong, your character strength, and capabilities in running council are absolutely central to Dylan in this current environment. You are simply unafraid to meet any beast in the room head on. Congratulations.
We'll be here without you.
Lastly, thanks to Summit Daily. Thanks, Ryan. Thank you, everybody. Been my absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. I don't want that. I don't want that.
Right. Brad, don't leave.
Hey, Brad, don't leave.
We have something for you too.
I put this together for you. I just set it down. I wouldn't be sitting here in this room. I'm not. Right, and with that, with our one freed up seat, we can swear in council members Kyle Hendricks. Tyne, I knew it was Tyne, and you told me, and then you were like, just look at the one letter, and then I forgot. Rachel Tyne and John Woods. If you would, come on up to the front. I think we can do a 3 for 1. Yep, 3 for 1. Just line it up right here. Face Adrian.
I. Do solemnly swear. Will support the Constitution of the United States of America. State of Colorado. And the charter and ordinances of the town of Dillon. Faithfully perform the duties of the office of council member. Upon which I am about to enter.
Yeah.
Okay.
And with that, my wife and I have had a long, long time.
Thank you.
Bye, Vicky. Bye, Brad. Oh, yeah, Brad, do you grab your name tag?
Hey, Brad. Want to take your nameplate?
Just kidding. Oh, I put it in.
No, we already tossed it out.
Right.
I put it- I just switched it. I did it quickly.
Come on.
I'm just trying, I'm a professional. I'm a professional in here.
Thank you, Brad. Up next is the council appointment of a mayor pro tem. I would suggest, or my suggestion for mayor pro tem today for a 2-year term is Kyle Hendricks. He is the most senior member of the council. And I feel would represent me most truly in my absence.
I was gonna make a motion to, I thought that Renee was senior, but I was gonna make a motion. Renee.
Yeah.
To fill that spot.
The pro tem.
Okay, I move that we appoint Kyle Hendricks to be mayor pro tem. Is there a second?
Well, I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Okay, Councilmember Woods,
No.
Tyne.
No.
Memora,
No.
Christensen,
No.
Hendricks,
Yes.
Mams Rivera.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that Renee be appointed to that position.
I'll second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Tyne,
Yes.
Memora,
Yes.
Hendricks. Woods,
Yes.
Mams Rivera.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Up next is consideration of resolution number 1824, series of 2024, a resolution approving a contract with Columbine Hills Construction LLC for the 2024 storm sewer bypass project.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Dan Burrows is out of town this evening. But in front of you tonight is a resolution for a contract with Columbine Hills Construction for stormwater bypass project. This project is a result of a microburst storm, microburst storm event that we had last summer. As you can recall, we did a lot of improvements to the back of house. The loading docks, we dug out that area so the semi trucks can go all the way back up in. Well, this microburst came through and flooded out that whole area. We were very lucky that we didn't have any equipment, trucks, trailers, more importantly, people back there. So as a result, we're now doing, or in front of you tonight, is a project to maneuver the storm drain pipe around that area and add a couple manholes. So this project, if it is approved tonight, would start at the end of April, April 22nd, and the amount is to not exceed $205,000. It is a little bit over of our engineer's estimate. We are working on some of the other projects that was likely going to postpone, but we feel that this project is a definite need, not only to maintain our assets, but the assets of different performers and people who are working in the back of house. So staff is recommending approval of the contract and resolution with Columbine Hills Construction for the stormwater bypass project.
Thanks, Nathan. Questions for Nathan / Dan?
It's too bad our finance person isn't here. I'd like to know. Juggle anything. Budget.
We do not actually, since we're currently reviewing the bids of the other work. We did have 3 or 4 different projects scheduled for this year. This is the first project, so we do have the money allocated. This would come out of the street sales tax money.
Good questions or comments? I would entertain a motion to approve resolution number 1824, series of 2024.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Up next is consideration of resolution number 1924, series of 2024, a resolution approving an independent contractor agreement by and between the town of Dillon and Inspired Marketing and Events LLC.
Yeah, this is a resolution. Staff have been in discussions with Angelique Lockridge of Inspired Marketing and Events to start up a sponsorship program for the town, specifically at the amphitheater for events, for recreation programming. We do think that there is an opportunity there that we're missing out on as far as doing, I would say, classy sponsorships of what we're doing here in the town. Angelique is a proven entity here in Summit County. She works for the Summit Chamber. She does a number of the events that they do and a number of the sponsorship agreements through them. So she comes highly recommended from some other Summit County entities. We're looking to enter into a contractor agreement with her. She would be paid on commission. So she only gets paid when she executes these sponsorship agreements. During the term of her agreement, she'll receive a 30% commission on all sponsorship sales that she secures. And for a 1-year period following the termination of the agreement, she'll receive a 10% commission on sponsorship sales secured during the term of her agreement. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Questions for Jesse? Comments? And we talked about this before, and so forward to seeing the outcome of a different strategy down there and see how it works.
Absolutely.
Thanks for putting this together. I would entertain a motion to approve resolution 1924, series of 2024.
So moved.
For a second,
I'll second.
any further discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Woods,
Yes.
Tyne,
Yes.
Hendricks,
Yes.
Christensen,
Yes.
Muscabear,
Yes. Next item is consideration of resolution number 2024, series of 2024, a resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement with Summit County for the U.S. Forest Service Work Center Affordable Workforce Housing Project.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. You all are aware that this project has been many years in the making. I'm happy to bring forward a last minute IGA with the county, based off of some of the provisions that we've negotiated over the course of the several, many months, pertaining to creating workforce housing on the U.S. Forest Service administrative site. We do have a couple county colleagues here, Jason Dietz, Lena here. We have been working diligently on this for many, many years. I actually wish Brad was here to see that this coming forward to you all tonight. But included in your packet is an IGA with Summit County, and it outlines some of the provisions pertaining to creating the workforce agreement. I'm just going to run through those real quick, which includes the roundabout designs for two roundabouts, one at Lake Dillon Drive, and then also a furthermore east roundabout that would connect in County Road 51. The town is agreeing with the county to move forward with 100% permitted final design drawings. The county is going to pay for 100% of the eastern or the smaller roundabout. Western roundabout is still going to move forward. The county is going to supply $2 million to the completion of that roundabout. And then to the water provisions, we, the town, are going to give up to 150 equivalent residential units, water free to the project and at in-town rates. So if you are to approve this IGA tonight, we will be coming forward with an ordinance that would change some of the provisions of our code to allow us to do this at the following meeting. Furthermore, I would say the county has agreed to give us priority on two of those residential housing units. We think this is a really great deal and it strengthens our partnership with Summit County. But more importantly, I would say that this is a project that puts us on the national. Nobody else has done this yet under the Farm Bill. So we are going to be the first ones to do that. I know it's taken a lot of time, a lot of hard work, and I really want to thank our partners at the county for sticking with it, and more importantly, you all for sticking with it as well. So in front of you tonight is the IGA for formal consideration to move forward with the project. Those provisions, staff is recommending approval, and looking forward to seeing this project come to fruition.
Thanks. Anything, questions or comments for Nathan?
I think I'm glad we're at this agreement finally after so many years. So I look forward to working with the county on this development and hoping for the best.
Would say finally, and it's a lot of work from Nathan and Carolyn and the people that were here before me. These guys have worked at it on this thing crazy, and you should know if you read a story about this, that this has changed like huge since first proposed. And it was a lot of work and a lot of heartache. So you did a great job, and you did a great job.
Thank you. With that, I would anyone else? I would entertain a motion to approve resolution number 2024, series of 2024.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember Hendricks,
Yes.
Woods,
Yes.
Tyne,
Yes.
Christensen,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Muscabear,
Yes. Thanks, everyone. Up next is review the future council agendas. Did anyone have anything to add or change or see that you didn't understand and have a question about?
Do we have any more information on like this, reducing the speed limit, working with the county and Stone, anything
We're working on that.
Okay, because there was another call to me regarding from our town, or from Corinthian Hill, from the board member on the HOA or the president. He wanted to know where we were with that, if that's gonna happen, where we are consistent with the, like, 45 miles an hour, maybe consistent all the way through the county and through Dillon and then Keystone. I mean, it seems like it worked for the river. When I went to the meeting with the town managers meeting, they were saying, or CDOT already approved the 45. They were reducing it, I think, from 50 to 45 miles an hour on that road. So I'm hoping maybe CDOT will.
Yeah, and to answer that real briefly, we are working with CDOT, but then also the town of Silverthorne is also doing a safe streets for all. Is that what it's called?
Oh, I like that.
Program. It's a federally funded program that they're analyzing speed and addresses throughout their town.
So there are two different kind of creatures. The study that Blue River did on their highway was it was a CDOT speed study. And in that study, they're really just considering that state highway. They're considering speeds, they're considering accidents. And that's really kind of what that's all about. So I have emails into Region 3 asking to find out exactly what the procedure and policies are for that and what the cost, because I believe the entity that requests it, I believe, has to pay for it. The program that Silverthorne is doing, so it's called Safe Streets for Silverthorne. And it's part of I believe, a federal grant program, SS for something. That is different in that Silverthorne was, and I sit in on, they allow Dillon and the county to sit in on their meetings so that we can kind of watch their process and whatnot. And that really is a really neat project where it's not just Highway 9 as it goes through Silverthorne. It's considering all of the side streets, all of the frontage streets, all of the back streets, all of that. And not only just for vehicular traffic, but for all types of multimodal, whether people are walking or biking or any of those other things. And so I sent Nathan to get kind of a status report of where they're at with that. And when the report's done, I'll share more of that. But another type of a study for you guys to consider, which I think might be more interesting. We're considering the, how are pedestrians getting across from Oro Grande or Corinthian Hill or out there at or even here on Lake Dillon Drive. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Thank you.
How long is the study going to take? Do you know?
They are going to be done, I believe, in July. Is that what I said?
How many months total? Do you?
I think it's a multi-phased approach because I think where they're at right now is a planning section. And then the results from that planning period, they would have to implement. So one of the things that they're working on, and you just saw that last week when they tore down the Burger King site, they're working on the potential of widening Stevens Way to try to make that flow.
So yeah, I wanted to clarify, this is just the planning phase. The construction and phasing is a whole different program that they'll have to look into. But there are options.
That we maybe do that too, or we have a.
You can. Now, they're a bigger town. Their grant was for $200,000. I don't know when the next grant cycle is. We could look at that, or we could just hire our own consultant to do our own study, but I don't think it would cost $200,000. The other thing I think for you guys to consider, and maybe our new neighbor is interested in doing a joint project with us where Keystone and Dillon would study that whole corridor from Keystone all the way through here to Dillon.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
See that.
Yeah, the Safe Streets for All is like the precursor to apply for some of the bigger grants.
Got
So
it.
some of the bigger infrastructure grants that are out there. You could definitely look at that though.
I think that would be a great idea, and then the residents would be seeing that we're trying to do something with the problems that we're having with the speed and the not being able to cross the streets from Oro Grande or Corinthian Hill, or even around Dillon. I mean, safe street. So, yeah, I like that idea. Thank you, Scott.
I was gonna bring that up too, if I could add something. So like I met with Nina Waters, but she said there are some coalitions that I was unfamiliar with. But we have, in Corinthian Hill, we have people that are willing to get involved in the political process. So I was going to ask you, instead of starting a new organization, to point them to existing organizations, if you need people in the audience to support these efforts. Is there something that Highway 6 goes into Silverthorne? Isn't there somebody that's already involved in that coalition? Highway 9?
So we've been working with Silverthorne and CDOT on basically it's exit 205 and really the whole system from Highway 9, the interchange and Highway 6. And where there is going to be, I think in May, an open house, a public open house to review kind of what we looked at, but we're reviewing alternatives of interchange alternatives. We're looking at repositioning intersections. So Stevens Way is one of those that's been identified. So that also is in process. And so it will be open to the public. Yes. And I'll let you guys know when I have a date on that. But I think all of this on some level kind of dovetails together. I will mention again, I mentioned this before, that I've not officially, but I've heard comments from officials at CDOT that if we did do a speed study, given how the Highway 6 corridor was designed from Lake Dillon Drive out to Keystone, that it was actually designed to carry speeds, and that while we've had some fatalities out there, it has not been, they haven't been numerous. And so I've been warned that if we do the CDOT study, it may indicate that actually higher speeds are advised for that section. And so that's where I mentioned that, maybe there's a political angle for that to look at. But I think, a better approach might be the safe street approach, where you're analyzing more than just traffic accidents and traffic fatalities. You're looking at pedestrian access and other things.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. And we don't want it to go up, that's for sure. So we don't want to take a risk at having a CDOT study. But I would be curious, I'd love to see I'd love to see the officers on the side of the street. I don't know if we could do our own study, because I just see people whipping by. I wonder how many tickets I would,
Yeah, it's hard to do that when it's.
to get them. Yeah,
Study kind of stops.
I'd have to
One.
get-
You saw one person exceeding.
I know, and then you go get them and then
One thing that I think we will talk about together, some of that, the traffic speed signs that are.
Yep.
Kind of doing some mobile stations, which would start requiring more data on Highway 6 specifically. Speeds are incredibly high.
Yeah, so if you how does that work? Do you put the mobile stations off the highway and then they just clock the person, like they count it automatically on? Yeah.
So all of the digital signs you threw out town can actually pull data out of those signs, which is a great tool of traffic volume, speeds, time, cars.
Can we put cameras and then you can send a ticket? I've gotten it before from Boulder when.
No, the majority of people that actually were doing that,
They don't do that.
legal issues, so many are not doing that.
Okay.
Different states have taken different. Yeah, and in fact, not very long ago, I think in the, we had cops that were counting cars, and that's weird, because it doesn't take very long. Violated it. So looking at some strategies actually, start collecting better data. Like, comparison wise, Blue River has a lot of driveway. Talk about in the past, we have a lot of access ways, intersections. And all of that stuff together to really make a push to some of the low hanging fruit. Consistency. Roundabout. But not for a while, so what can we do? Not seem to be changing there. Significant. Just the amount on the last couple of weeks of 25. What's concerning is that see any improvement in that, so we're gonna try and look at the
Good money for doing it though. If they're going to Texas tomorrow.
Anything else for the future council agendas list? Town managers update, Nathan?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. A couple quick updates. Our tuition assistance for childcare, which is countywide. This is also funded through the nicotine tax. Early childhood options gave a report at the last mayor's managers commissioners meeting. They are anticipating a deficit there. So our portion for the remainder of the year is 30,000. Also, emergency management is reaching out to all the towns to cost share on completing a countywide evacuation plan. That RFP was published last week. And then more importantly, our town projects are starting to kick into gear. I want you all to be aware that the reserved parking and managed parking on the lakefront is going to go live around April 15th. And then we are continually working on some of these bids that we received for the infrastructure projects. So more to come on that, hopefully in May. And we're excited for the summer season coming up. So, that's all I have. Oh, last thing, sales tax revenue for February was down approximately 24,000. Year to date, we're about at $1,200 off. So we're watching that very closely. We do need some businesses in town. So any questions for me?
Thanks, Nathan. Up next is the mayor's update. Nathan and I were at that same meeting saying we were short 30,000 approximately on our childcare share, along with everyone else. So got several bills that somehow we're gonna have to figure out how to pay here coming up. Adrian, did you get a chance to go to the scholarship thing? Do you have the names of those people, or do we want to announce that, or just say how it went? We ended up going with two kids from Dillon. And then we had a second tier of, I think, 2 other kids that we really liked. And then 4 other kids below that. So it was 2 got the highest amount, 2 in the middle tier, and then 4 that we thought all had potential, and we distributed what we had remaining between them. So I think we were able to give scholarships to 8 kids.
You get, actually gave it more. You gave 10,000, you gave 2 kids 2,000, 2 kids 1,000, and 6 500. So we gave out a lot. It was 10,000.
Okay, yeah, I think it was 10. We tried to make it.
Yeah. So, and they all came up, and John came and took pictures with each state. That was great.
No, very grateful,
They were really nice.
appreciative.
It was great you were there.
That's it. Questions or comments? Councilmember comments? Item 4 from the work session, staff reports. Scott, did you want to give us a highlight from your report?
So you have my written report. One thing to add is that we, at the request of the county, have been assisting with the cleanup on the dam road. So there was, they called in scalers to remove the material where the slide occurred and additional material on either side of it. They brought down additional material. And so the county requested assistance from the other towns. So Dillon's helping out, Silverthorne, Frisco. I'm not sure about Breckenridge. County has some vehicles, but so we are the scaling is complete. We're in the process of assisting with the hauling to haul that material out from the site. Then they're going to have to inspect the road to see if there's damage to the roadway. But we're hoping, I can't promise you, but we're hoping by the end of the week to have the dam road open to traffic. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
That was a major, was there any cars on that road when that happened? Do you know?
I don't believe there were any cars. And it was, they say that it's one of the biggest slides they've had in 30 years, I think is what they said on that. A little fun fact, we're actually, that's really nice material for landscaping. We've actually taken quite a few truckloads out to our storage area in the snow storage area. So we'll be able to use those on some different landscape projects in town.
Well, that's good news.
Yeah.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Chief, did you want to give us a quick update?
Working on getting everybody healthy. We have one sergeant out on injury. We'll be back sometime in June. Nathan touched on it already. OEM coming out with kind of a shared approach. One of the other projects that we're looking at is the replacement of public messaging, i.e. Code Red or Summit County Alert. And I think we're 6 presentations into that before the RFP went out. So look forward to that. Quite a collaboration there. All the community partners, very inclusive, including the school district. Some of the other bigger partners that would be really nice to get on the same platform. So pretty excited about that. Michael from the Comm Center has been heading that up, which is outstanding. He kind of has come into the picture. Full state head with the Comm Center and a lot of the tech updates. Staff wise, couldn't say enough good things about our staff in the last couple of weeks. They have really been doing a great job. Just the work output, how we didn't total a car in the last 2 snow cycles. Impressive. Some organizations were not as lucky as we, but really doing just a substantial amount of work. March, we were almost 600 calls. Somebody brought up the term mud season. I'd like to see when that starts for us because I don't see it happening.
This means there's mud on the ground. when
It
you
does.
save
And,
all
you
the
know,
stuff.
trying to keep cars clean and then driving through a big puddle right after that. So I can take any questions. I know I didn't submit anything this month, but talk about that in a little bit. So
Questions for the chief? Thanks, chief. And then we had committee reports from item 5. I have a committee report.
Well, we had a Parks and Rec meeting recently and there was discussion on the trash dumpster enclosure. And I think we're all I think Scott, well, I know Scott's gonna bring that before us to make a nice design. And the recycling, I believe, right, is all gonna be a building. If you wanna go ahead and, I think that's a great.
I think in a future council meeting, I think I'm going to bring the conceptual plan for council to take a look at. This is the trash and recycling, the new enclosure that we've contemplated for the existing enclosure in the marina parking lot. So there were a couple of comments from PrAC. I think there was consensus that they supported it, like the concept of a more regional approach to trash and recycling rather than having multiple enclosures everywhere. You'll recall that, Ned, there's been some new ordinances regarding trash enclosures around town and the need to accommodate recycling and other things. And so in a future council meeting, I'm going to be bringing that conceptual plan forward.
Yeah, process in favor of it. I mean, Scott did a nice job, except he was gonna work on the color, make it look more yellow than like a natural color, but it's a natural color and it kind of is, it backed up into the, it won't be that much, you won't have that much visibility from like the condos above it. It'll be really nice and be back as far as possible, right?
That was one of the asks at the meeting was so we already have it recessed into the hillside. The question was, can it go further back into the hillside? So when you do that, we're obviously supporting a slope above that and a rec path. And so the engineers are going to have to take a look at how much more robust does that concrete wall need to be if we go further back in to the hillside to kind of tuck it back even more. So I'm kind of waiting for a response on the engineers on that now. The other thing we talked about is John gave an update on sustainability efforts that we have going on throughout the town. John, I don't know if you want to make any comments on that, but just an update. They are related to Parks and Rec and the things that we do. So
sustainability wise, I've been pretty busy We're working on a lot of grants and working with organizations like Excel Partners in Energy, Soul Smart, and a few others. But basically looking towards sustainable initiatives that the town can get behind and are actually feasible. So, yeah, that's kind of what I've been up to. on That part.
Last quick update, we, Prac earlier had talked about our organization, how many members, how many meetings, so on and so forth. They decided they wanted, right now we just have 5, so we've had 2 people who have left us. And so we have been advertising for those 2 park open positions. So we're waiting until kind of the end of the month to see what we get in terms of those. Our next PrAC meeting is May 6th. And so then we would like to bring a recommendation on who PrAC would like to add to the committee for your next council meeting. Only if you want to. There's the last direction we had from council is that you guys wanted to have PrAC review applications and then make a recommendation to council. We also have had times where council has conducted interviews for the PrAC positions. So we're happy to do whatever you prefer. So,
Great.
Thanks.
Thanks.
The Zero Waste Task Force meeting also that you missed out on.
Thank you for taking on.
And that was, basically talking about construction waste and how much of it can be recycled, instead of going to the land. The different products, whether it's scrap metal, wood, or, cardboard. There's still a lot of details and questions about that. Just very ongoing.
Any other committee reports? Next meeting, we are reassigning committees, so think about what you might want to be involved in. Up next, I move to go into executive session pursuant to sections 3-4A1 of the Dillon Home Rule Charter and CRS 24-64024E for the purpose of determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and or instructing negotiators specifically concerning a potential intergovernmental agreement to provide law enforcement services to the town. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember Tyne,
Yes.
Hendricks,
Yes.
Christensen,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Woods,
Yes.
Mayor Scarpelli.
Yes.